dust storm, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
All right, so this will be the final show that we have before the launch of Disney Plus, and there is tons of Mandalorian stuff coming our way. This is the Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. The wait is almost over.
Oh yeah,
Disney Plus is finally in our sights. I guess kinda. I still don't see an app,
right?
But it's in our sights.
Yeah. The marketing for The Mandalorian is ramping up in a big way. That's for sure.
Not just the marketing for The Mandalorian, but the marketing for Disney Plus as a whole.
True. I have seen TV spots for Disney Plus, and you're seeing clips of Star Wars movies and Disney movies and Pixar and Marvel. It's kind of crazy. Just seeing
what
all
did
that.
I saw
together.
A compilation of Disney Plus advertisements and stuff for of advertisements for Disney Plus, and it was like 3 hours long.
Wow.
I'm like, wow. We're in the last week and 2 weeks to a week, and now you've got 3 hours of stuff out there to promote your stuff.
Right.
like a 3 hour compilation is something that would show up after, like 6 months of promotion.
Yeah.
This is like in the 3 weeks of promotion that they've done for Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a compilation of like everything that's coming, all the Disney movie offerings and things like that, the Marvel stuff.
Right.
But I've had tunnel vision, and my tunnel vision is focused on The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
I have. It's odd saying this. I have not been this excited about something Star Wars in a while.
I hear you.
I mean, I'm always excited.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm always super excited, but there's something about this one. There's just something here that's got me super excited. I don't know if it's just the way the cast and directors are talking about it. I guess the last time I was this excited was, when they did the Lost Mission stuff for the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, okay. You thought it was gone. It wasn't coming back, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yep.
You
got a little taste of something that they were, they still had in the works and, finished up.
Right.
I think it's just, it's not so much about the content we're seeing, but like the Clone Wars, the cast is just that good at drawing you in. They're excited, so it makes you excited.
That does help. And especially with this cast, there's some heavy hitters in this cast, right? I mean, they're nearly all heavy hitters, as far as actors go. I mean, and to see actors with that much experience under their belt this excited about this project they're working on, that's encouraging for everyone, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, the Clone Wars, they didn't have that kind of gravitas and experience,
right?
But it was just that pure joy of what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
They were able to relay to us, and that's what made. That's part of what helped build my excitement week to week with the Clone Wars, is they were always out there talking about something, and oh, you're not going to believe what we did this week. It was so exciting and things like that. It's like their excitement translated to my excitement, and that's what this cast is doing.
Right.
I'm not taking anything away from all the work that the cast for The Rise of Skywalker is doing and things like that. I love hearing from the actors and stuff out on the promotion trail, but they're just not relaying that same enthusiasm.
Correct. And yeah, I don't want to get into the weeds with it, but you know, there's a little bit of a it almost seems like they're stepping lightly around certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like it's inevitable that questions come up about The Last Jedi or about, you know, the fan base and how they've been behaving, and it's almost a shame because it's not what you really want to be talking about moving forward, right? You just want to hear about what's going to be coming up with this next movie and how it can excite the fan base. But you know, you're always kind of wincing, waiting for that other thing to drop. You know?
Yeah, and maybe it's a little bit about the delivery from the cast here and the cast with the Clone Wars, because when they're out and they're tiptoeing around what they can and cannot say, you had Dave Filoni go, "Be careful."
Oh yeah.
Don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas here, the actor's just saying, "Oh, I can't say this," you know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's just a little different when Dave's going, watch it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it might have something to do with it. I mean, you know, I could see that. Dave's always been kind of that, you know, he'll keep you on the straight and narrow, but he does it in a fun way, I guess.
Well, I mean, and with this, you've got Dave out there telling the guy at the helm.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to go too far.
Yeah, right.
You know, like.
Yeah, the showrunner. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Dave, he's in charge.
Exactly.
Second nature to him, I guess, is say, hey, you can't go there.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's just a delivery thing. And it's the way they're doing it here is just more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then the visuals that we've seen so far are just stunning.
Absolutely. This is going to be episodic television, right? Or what television has become, and it is every bit the quality of a feature film from what I've seen so far. So,
okay.
I just, you know, that's what's blowing me away right now.
Oh, I have no doubts that we're going to see some, you know, some moments in this that are going to look like, you know, old sci-fi TV series, just because, you know, sometimes you have to make cuts.
Yeah, I'm not so sure though. I got a feeling we're gonna. I got a feeling we're gonna see stuff week to week that just blows us away, and I don't think we're gonna see some of these cuts you're talking about. You know, especially with all the new technology they're using. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, for like his ship, I mean, they still got a ship on a stick, you know, like.
Yeah, I know, but guess what? They made that stuff look really good.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be pleasantly astounded by how good this thing looks. That's the way I see it.
And you know, another thing I bring up a lot when talking Star Wars and Star Wars trailers and things like that is the music.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say, with these trailers that we've been treated to over the past week, the music is sounding better and better.
Oh yeah.
I think they've been holding back, and probably for good reason. I think Ludwig Göransson here is going to surprise us with this score.
Yeah. This is, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, you know, we had a departure from John Williams with the Clone Wars, right?
Yep.
And then with Rebels. But now you're going to be talking live action, you know, and again, same with Rogue One and Solo. But after The Rise of Skywalker, John Williams is going to be done with Star Wars. So this is going to be the new normal for us, right? So when it comes to music, we are going to have to get used to other composers, chipping in and doing their part for Star Wars. And it's, in some ways, it's going to seem, a little weird, but I also think that it's going to allow composers to play in this sandbox where they know this isn't something where you just put out your, we'll just throw a little something in there for music. No, everything has got to be thought deeply about and considered, and
yeah, and this
done
is
well.
not going to be a situation where composers are just going to be able to put forth their best John Williams cover work.
Right. There's that too. Right.
We'll see right through that. The thing with John Williams is with each film, he brought something new to the table.
Yes.
So while there are repeating and reoccurring themes and things like that, there was always something new and fresh and something that kind of pushed the boundary a little bit in Star Wars, brought to the table with each successive film.
Yeah, totally.
So these composers are going to have to come in and push the boundaries.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're tough shoes to fill, but they're not shoes we want filled in a let's try and do our best John Williams impression.
Right.
That's not what John Williams does. John Williams doesn't try to do John Williams.
Yeah, that sounded weird. Okay.
Yeah, but it's true, right? Like,
Right.
he doesn't go,
Yeah.
okay, this is how I write stuff.
Right.
This is what fits here.
Right.
He's talked about, how he's had to push himself with certain themes and things like that. Because, nothing he had ever done before seemed right.
Right.
So he had to work in something new in order to convey that character's personality or the emotions of that scene,
Yeah. Gotcha.
That's what I mean by that.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
He didn't come in saying, okay, this is everything I've done, so I've got to do it like this.
Right.
He never did that. And that's what made Star Wars music so awesome. Because, when you went in to see the prequels, Duel of the Fates was not like anything you've ever heard
Right.
in Star Wars.
Right.
It was so different. And you can tell, okay, I'm going to play some Star Wars music for you. You can tell, oh, this is, prequel music. Oh, this is original trilogy music. This is sequel trilogy music. You can tell.
Yes, absolutely.
They all have their own unique sound.
Yep.
They all get grounded by the Luke Skywalker theme,
Yes. Yes.
but they all have their own unique sound. The Luke Skywalker theme is just that thread that weaves it all together.
Right.
Luke Skywalker's theme and the Force theme.
Right.
Those are the threads that weave all those differences together. So,
Yeah.
we need crazy ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing that you can, man, if you're not, it sounds cliche to say, right? But if you're not thinking outside of the box with Star Wars, then maybe you shouldn't be doing Star Wars, right? And that goes for every aspect of it, the music, the storytelling, the writing, directing, all of that. It's a place to be innovative, that's for sure.
Yep. And from what I've heard in the trailers, it's going to be different.
Right on.
Sounds cool.
Yes,
it
does.
sounds so cool.
Yes.
All right. With these trailers, we also got our first look at some of the characters and it reveals 4 characters that we've seen but not heard.
Right.
So first up, Nick Nolte's character. So how would you pronounce this? Would you pronounce this Quill?
I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me right now.
It's Kuiil.
I'm not sure. That is definitely a Star Wars type spelling, so I think we're gonna have to hear it before we know for sure.
Yeah, it's either Quill or Quill.
Right. Or Kuiil? Yeah, something like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I went straight to a W there that's not there. Quill. Yeah. That sounds better. So yeah, what do you think? Nick Nolte playing an Ugnaught.
Yeah, it's I I'm seeing a live action Ugnaught speaking in clear basic, and it's like, wow, that kind of threw me for a loop. But hey,
Yeah. He's older though. He's seen a thing or two.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I did think that was odd myself. Like, wow, he just speaks basic.
Right.
He speaks it like he's been speaking it his whole life.
Yeah. So what's interesting, I guess, do you think this Ugnaught is going to be kind of like, so we've seen the Mandalorian use carbon freezing for transporting prisoners, right?
Uh-huh.
We know of this from The Empire Strikes Back with Boba Fett. You think this Ugnaught was one of those Ugnaughts that was there? And he's like, hey, I know how you can haul these guys around. Or do you think this is like a practice that kind of gets adopted through smuggling? Not smuggling, but bounty hunting.
I think it might be a practice that ends up becoming a thing.
Okay.
It was tested on Han Solo.
Right.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah.
And then some people are like, oh, we can market this. We got to come up with some handheld,
So we have some enterprising Ugnaughts going around the galaxy.
Oh, I didn't even think. Yeah, maybe this is one of those guys.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a great idea.
Yeah, I worked on this project one time with Darth Vader, and
So I have references.
yeah, I got experience here. Yeah.
I mean, he might be hard to reach,
Right.
but
Right. I don't know. I just it's kind of interesting because, Ugnaughts working on Cloud City, right? That's a thing, and here we have one, and we also saw carbon freezing in this show. So, I'm connecting dots that I don't know if they connect yet. So,
yeah, I don't know if this guy is necessarily working with the Mandalorian based on his dialogue.
right.
And I believe that carbon freezing was already something that he was doing prior to that.
Okay.
Whether this guy has a connection is still possible.
Right. Because you're talking about the dialogue. It sounds like this might be like their first meeting, right?
Yeah, and when you saw on his ship, when you saw the carbon freezing, there were several of them.
Right. But that could all be for one bounty too. Several members of a particular gang or something like that. Never know.
Well, it's possible.
I don't think he's collecting them,
Oh no, it's definitely for transport.
Right.
It definitely makes for very ruly passengers.
Yeah, for sure.
They're not going to make too much noise. They're not going to tear your stuff up.
Right.
So yeah, it's not a bad idea. You want to keep them from asking, "Are we there yet?" Just carbon freeze them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It looks. I'll tell you what. The character looks remarkably like Nick Nolte too.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the I don't know if you want to call it ironic, I guess, but that's a pretty interesting fact there.
So yeah, it's interesting though. I like that. I'd never seen a Mandalorian. Heard of you.
Right.
Heard stories, right?
Yeah.
So I like that there's going to be all this like mystique and legend. Oh, I've never seen a Mandalorian up close,
Right. Yeah, because
they really have a reputation.
they have a reputation. There's been stories told around the galaxy about them. And then there's the other line later on, and I forget the character's name. But basically saying your name's going to go down in history. But again, the only name that we have is the Mandalorian, right? So, at least as of thus far. So,
yeah, your name is going to go down in history.
Right.
Is your name? So, yeah, all looks cool. Very, very excited.
Definitely.
So we also got to look at, oh boy. So it seems, I feel like this name is deceivingly easy. So Ming-Na Wen.
Uh-huh.
We got to look at her character. Fennec Shand.
Right. That's the character I was just talking about. Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Right.
So her character is the one
Yeah.
you were talking about.
Yeah, she's the one who says that to the Mandalorian. Your name will go down in history. Or whatever the line is. Something similar.
Yeah. I have a feeling with the look of her character and with the way they're describing her,
Uh-huh.
she's going to say something like, your name will go down in history as another one stupid enough to come up against me.
Right. I can see that.
Because it definitely looks like they're setting her up to be maybe a formidable opponent turned ally,
Could be.
or an ally of necessity turned opponent.
Right. It's funny too because we're hearing a lot of chatter about how this show's going to touch on that subject of who's what side are you on kind of thing, right?
Yeah, loyalty's not going to be a thing in this show.
Right.
Yeah, that takes us right into that next part. So yeah,
That's called a segue.
yeah. So, Gina Carano and Pedro Pascal have both commented on this, as well as Carl Weathers. And so the ones I have here is, so Gina Carano said, we can be pulled to any side, any one of us. Even when you begin the journey with the Mandalorian, you aren't sure which side you're on. I like this.
Yes.
This is going to have that old Western feel. Are these the good guys? No, are these the good guys?
Right.
Which ones are the good guys? I mean, I feel like that should be the good guy because they're for law and order, but they're cruel.
Right.
And this guy's for like freedom, but he's killing everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to see a lot of that kind of tone,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm excited about. That's what I want to see in this show. Like, and that's the way it should be.
I agree.
Talking bounty hunters and
You're talking parts of the galaxy that since the fall of the Empire haven't been touched by the hand of the Republic yet. So
right.
There is a bit of lawlessness going on. So that's essentially what could cause this sort of muddying of the waters of right and wrong, good and evil, blah blah blah. It's it can make for interesting storytelling. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. And Pedro Pascal added to this. He says they separate good and evil so perfectly in the world of Star Wars. And in this one, it's like we're way more at the center. We're past those borders and past those very, very linear, very specific lines of definition.
Nice. I like it.
So it's all going to be blurry.
Right. I will say, now, this blurring of the lines, it's really nothing new to Star Wars, right? I mean, the original trilogy is pretty straightforward, right? Good versus evil, right? Until we get to the prequels, then everything gets kind of, tipped on its side a little bit. So,
yeah, the character you root for in 3 movies becomes Darth Vader.
Exactly. So, and and the Republic, which is, what's Obi-Wan say, right? For the Republic, for democracy, right? All of that, with thunderous applause, becomes the Empire, the first galactic empire. So, it's like I said.
I think of.
Go ahead.
Well, I think of some of the novels we've had over the years. The Thrawn trilogy.
Right.
You're rooting for Thrawn.
Sure.
Bad guy.
Right.
You get to Plagueis, and I know these examples are not canon. I'll get to a canon example next, but you get to Plagueis. You're rooting for Plagueis and Palpatine.
Right.
I mean, you are literally reading this book through their eyes, and you kind of agree with them at times.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, maybe these guys aren't so bad. Oh no, wait, there it is.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It takes a moment sometimes, and then another example of that is in canon is Tarkin.
Yeah.
Tarkin's a bad dude.
Right.
You read that book, for most of the book, you don't feel that way.
Right. Right, because he has to come up through the ranks and he's got to pay his dues. And you're always rooting for the guy coming up through the ranks, paying their dues, putting in the hard work. And once they get to that elevated position of authority, they blow up Alderaan. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, he's a jackass.
Exactly.
I forgot about that. So this is something that's been done masterfully in the past.
Yeah, it's true.
But this one's going to take you there and back, there and back, there and back.
Right.
I feel like, which it should be the way of a bounty hunter. Bounty hunter is not going to play by any rules.
Exactly.
They're going to do stuff that is morally wrong just to get the job done.
It'll be interesting because, we're following the Mandalorian, right? Apparently through this series. It'd be interesting to see when he comes up against, remaining factions of the old Empire. And maybe if he comes up against, a new Republic patrol ship somewhere, right? He might have the same reaction to both, which could be kind of make you go, ooh, wow, didn't see that coming. Kind of like that.
And I'm gonna be completely honest. This is gonna be kind of the tone that we kind of expected with Solo.
Right.
We kind of expected Solo to blur the lines a little bit more, make Han Solo more of an anti-hero than a hero.
Right.
That didn't happen. He always stayed pretty grounded in, what was morally right in the end.
Yeah, I mean, not to get off on a Solo tangent, but he is told right to his face in the movie, you're always going to be the good guy.
You're one of the good guys. It's like, no.
Yeah, I don't want to be the good guy.
But at the same time, as the viewer and the person invested in this story, you kind of feel like Han on his own should be of a little more questionable morality.
Right.
He's a self-proclaimed scoundrel, and you expect a little more of that scoundrel-like behavior.
Right. Exactly.
And you get some, but it's always kind of short-lived. They always got to go back to like, no, he's the good guy.
Yeah.
No, let this breathe a little bit. You can get to that. You can get to where he's the good guy, but let this, moment of, being the villain breathe a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you mentioned a word, anti-hero, and on this subject of the Mandalorian, I'd like to. This is a clip that's going to kind of reiterate what we've been saying, but this is coming right from the cast members' mouths themselves. So, this is from a interview with ET Canada. So, this is them kind of asking the tone of the movie and what they had to say about it.
So, The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Would you say villain or anti-hero?
If I had to say, I would say anti-hero.
Okay.
I wouldn't call any character in here a villain. Ta-da!
Do you guys agree?
I'm gonna take the fifth.
You're gonna plead the fifth on that one?
Yeah.
Anti-hero.
We have villains.
We start. Oh, we've got villains.
Yes.
But he starts in a place and then grows from that place, and I think that
lands in a place.
And lands in a place, and I think that you wouldn't be able to decide between the two when we begin.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing about all of these characters is that there's
multi-layers.
you just never know when somebody's going to turn or if somebody's going to get pulled to the dark side or you just never know what's going to happen with anybody's character.
So be careful whose stock you buy.
Yeah.
You just may be down. Be careful.
And I think that's a beautiful thing about humanity. We all throughout our lives we go through, times where we think we're great and then we're definitely the villains. So I think that's what makes characters relatable.
Okay. I gotta say one thing. We talked about this too earlier.
Uh-huh.
Holy Dave Filoni. They've spent too much time with Dave.
Yeah, why do you say this?
Well, he starts in a place, he goes to another place.
Right. Yeah.
Might land in another place.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is definitely Dave Filoni talk right there. That's for sure.
You just never know.
Yeah. So I gotta be honest. I thought the question itself was kind of
Loaded.
Well, kind of oddly framed to begin with. So is the Mandalorian
villain or anti-hero? Not
villain? Right. There's
villain or hero.
No hero. Right. So it's like, okay. Apparently this is, coming from an angle that's a little different to begin with. So yeah.
Well, I think that's just a product of what we're dealing with here and the way everything's been framed so far. I think we know we're not dealing with a hero going in.
Right.
I don't think that's been lost on anyone in any of this marketing so far. We're not dealing with a hero here.
Right.
We all kind of know we're dealing with something in between.
I would agree, but I think there's a part of us that was kind of like thinking, kind of hoping maybe this guy's going to end up being some sort of a hero in some way. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, he could potentially just be a scoundrel or not. Hey, I hesitate to use that word now that you used it on Han Solo, but just like a.
You don't want him to just be scum.
Yeah, scum. Good. I like that. You don't want him to just be scum. You want him to have some sort of a softy side to him. I mean, from time to time, he chooses to do the right thing as opposed to just collect the bounty, right? Yeah.
Personally, I just want to see him whoop some ass.
I think there's going to be no shortage of that in the show. I think he can.
I'm not gonna lie. That's all I want out of this.
I think it's going to go a little deeper than that. I think we're going to get plenty of that. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to go a little deeper. I think that's how good Star Wars storytelling works.
I guess.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. I say that all the time along with you, but like, I don't know. I just have different expectations for this show. I mean, I just want to see some gritty bounty hunter business.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I'm sure.
I mean, whether he ends up being any kind of a hero, making good moral decisions or not, I just want to see some bounty hunters doing what they do, regardless of their leanings.
I'm sure there will be that.
Yeah. Because I look at this as getting a different side.
Right.
This is going to be a different point of view than we're used to seeing. And I think if it leans too much towards him becoming a hero of sorts, then that could hurt.
I don't think it's going to be like every episode. You know what I mean? I think at some point we're gonna see the character deconstructed a little bit, and he might make a decision here or there that you wouldn't think that grizzled, hard-nosed bounty hunter would make all the time.
Yeah. But at the same time, I want to see him be emotionless about most of it. Indifferent.
Well, I got a feeling we're going to see some emotion at some point.
Hey, it's the job, kid.
Yeah, there'll probably be some of that until it's not. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I just don't want it to go too deep into that. Like where it turns into this, he's helping stem the tide of the new empire. No, come on, please. No, we don't need that with this. We just need a bounty hunter kicking the crap out of people. Collecting bounties.
Well, I'm sure we'll get
that. I mean, do you feel like the show would get old if it was just that?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. If it was just that, yes. It's got to go a little deeper.
Well, we will find out soon enough. Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, so there's some other stuff going on in The Mandalorian, believe it or not. Anthony Daniels, he made a stop at Good Morning America.
That he did. He was, part of doing the rounds here to promote his book. At one point in the interview, he's talking about how basically since he's pretty much done playing C-3PO, it's time for a book, right? You can talk about all the stuff that you didn't know about that was going on. So,
what's the book? I Am C-3PO or something like that?
I got to be honest, I forget the title and I'm embarrassed, but it's something like that, yeah. But a couple interesting points here that I thought were noteworthy. So I figure we could just play a little clip of him here. You'll get the point here, and then we can talk about this in a minute.
record heat and you're inside of a metal case
Yeah.
or armor
Yeah.
with no air conditioning, no
A
ventilation.
little hole there.
And no one thinks of that when we watch these movies.
But neither should they, because, you know, you don't want to see the process happening. As you want to believe that you're watching C-3PO.
So
Yes.
yeah, exactly. I love the fact that he said that, right? That is exactly right. I totally agree. When you're watching these films, you shouldn't be thinking about that. Hey, there's a guy in there, right? Now, on the other hand, I have heard Anthony Daniels complain about how hot it gets in that suit in the desert. But hey, it's. I'm sure he's earning his pay when he's out there doing that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. If we're ever sitting watching a Star Wars movie in theaters, and you ever turn to me and say, "Man, I'd hate to be the guy in that suit. It's got to be hot in there." I'm going to turn to you and go, "Yeah? Why don't you shut the hell up?"
Right, exactly. Yeah, because as of right now, there is no guy in a suit.
Yeah.
That's a
What are you
droid.
talking about? That's freaking C-3PO, man. What are you
Exactly.
talking about? Like, guy in a suit. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah. I like it.
That's...
I like it. Yeah, for
He's
sure.
right, though. You got to let your imagination take over. You can't be thinking about, like, oh, wow, that's got to be hot.
Right. With all
If you
of
do
this
that every
stuff.
scene, how do you get immersed in the story?
Right. Yeah. It's
Star Wars plays with our imagination. If you start thinking about all that while you're watching the film in progress, your imagination has been robbed from you.
yes, exactly. Yeah, you got to be able to. That's the whole point of these things, right? You're detaching yourself from reality. You're escaping from it for a couple hours. That's for sure. And if it was done, how do I put this? If it was done not well enough for you to be able to suspend your disbelief, then there's a problem. And these movies would never have done as well as they have. So I think.
Yeah, it's like when you're sleeping and you're having a really good dream, and someone wakes you up and says, "Hey, you look like you were having a good dream." Yeah, I was.
Right. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, I just gotta say, I love the fact that, and maybe since he doesn't have to look forward to donning that suit much these days, he can look back on those hard times a little fonder now. So I think everyone can do that, once they've endured a little adversity, right? You look back on those times with a little bit of fondness. So
yeah, it's like you can take that acting and compare it to sports. Like you went out there and it really whooped you,
right?
But yeah, I achieved that. That's what I achieved. Yeah, I took a beating, but look at that.
Exactly.
Look at the kids that are in C-3PO costumes.
Oh yeah.
Because of their imagination. Yeah, I took a whooping, but look at what this did for their imagination.
Right.
So yeah, he and hearing him say that, he definitely looks on that with fondness. Yeah, I endured that, but look at all this.
Exactly. So very cool. Go on to talk about a little I don't know, a thought he had about how maybe 3PO could have a little end here.
Requested that 3PO be given some kind of proper, almost burial of laying in a scrap heap or something like that. And JJ told you absolutely not.
Yeah.
Are you happy with this final chapter?
Well, I should give you a little warning here.
please.
JJ is notorious for changing his mind.
Misdirection. Misdirection.
Yes, totally. I mean, he never did answer that question, did he?
No.
So interesting. He he wanted some sort of a big ending, I guess you could call it, for 3PO, and was told absolutely not by JJ. But then is implying that he might have changed his mind somehow, some way. So, and I think there are those
again and again,
yeah,
and again.
Like I was going to say, there are those.
And then he decided that he's just not going to give any conclusion whatsoever because he can't make up his mind.
There you go. That's it. That's what I was going to say, people. But Joe just said it better than I could. So.
Sorry.
Nope. That's it. That's perfect.
My bad, dude. I can't help myself.
Hey, no, that's fine.
I'm kidding. I really have high hopes for what JJ's doing here.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
I say all this in jest,
of course, but
unless he does that, then I'm going to be serious.
Right. Yeah. So pretty cool. Just whenever we can hear these Star Wars actors talking about this stuff, and this wasn't really a heavy hitting interview, more promotion of the book, less to do with the Rise of Skywalker, but worth checking out for any Star Wars fan for sure.
It's the little nuggets we're after. That's
right.
What we're there for.
Exactly.
That's worth the price of admission right there.
Totally.
So he wasn't the only Star Wars actor out there, though.
Oh no! So Ewan McGregor's actually been all over the place. Yeah. He's promoting the. He's in the Stephen King film,
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep. That was eluding me.
So I want to see this.
Yeah. So
mainly because just a quick segue. One of the things he said about this in his promotion is when we did our Ready Player One episode, we talked a lot about how Stephen King hated The Shining, the movie.
Right.
The creator who hates his own creation, right?
Right.
So we talked about that a lot, and Ewan's been talking a lot about how when they put this film together, the director wanted to please both camps. Those who loved the movie adaptation of The Shining, and those who were true to Stephen King's vision, including Stephen King. So this movie is supposed to bridge that gap and be enjoyable for everyone in both camps.
Gotcha.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Excellent. I think most fans of Ewan McGregor and Stephen King definitely be on board for this one.
Yeah, I'd probably still go see it anyway. Anything Obi-Wan's in, I'm in.
Right. So, speaking of Obi-Wan, everybody's got to ask him about Star Wars whenever he's on the interview circuit. So, gotta say, Ewan has had pretty much a canned answer about Star Wars for the past, how many years? 8, 10?
It's been that long?
Yeah, I don't know. He's been saying...
Four for sure.
For sure. I think it's ramped up, but every now and then they'd ask him the question before that. But then it ramped up in recent years. Ever since the Disney acquisition, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But he has had his canned answer of, well, if I'm open to the possibility, if they want to do it,
Yeah, if
they ask, yeah, I'd be up for it. So come to find out, Ewan has been lying to us.
It's exciting because I can finally say that I'm doing it. It's been years of pretending that Oh, I don't know. Well, because I get asked all the time. Every time I do an interview, it always comes up. Would you do it again? And there's all this speculation. And I had to just lie because the studios and the franchise, they want to keep everything secret. And
Right.
I understand that. But it comes down to me in a situation where I'm having to actually lie to people and say, well, I don't know. I would be up for it if they ever want to do it. And
you've known for years now. Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a long time. But it started looking like I was sort of trying to tout for the job. Like I was trying to get the job as Obi-Wan again, you know, at Disney's door, saying, hello, sir.
Yeah.
I'm available.
So guess what? He's got a new a new line. Yeah, it looks like I'm begging for the job, but I really wasn't. So
well, he actually spawned all the speculation that, wow, they're not going with Ewan, they're going with someone else, you know? Like,
right.
Who could it be? Who could be replacing Ewan? It's like, come on, they're not replacing Ewan.
Yeah, that could never happen.
But at the same time, yeah, I can't imagine what that's like to, especially like he talks about, he's like, I don't like to lie. Like,
right.
It just doesn't feel good, right?
But he's
and then to have to go out there night after night and do it.
Right. But he's an actor though, that's kind of.
Yeah. I believe it was on Kimmel that he said he had to like pretend he was acting for this, like.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, at least you were prepped.
Yeah, exactly. So he goes on, he's, talking about the role and, was asked by Conan, what it's like to play a character that was first established by, Alec Guinness. So here we go.
I mean, the most satisfying thing about those films, other than some of the fight sequences, which were amazing to do, was the study of Alec Guinness and trying to be believably him as a younger man. That was, as an acting challenge, that was the most satisfying thing about those movies. And so now that's the same, except I'm just closer to the age he was when he played that film. So it'll be interesting to play him now. And also it being post, plot-wise, the 3 films that I made already, it's after that, obviously.
Right.
So there's a bit of story plot there.
There's a nice arc that you can play with.
I hope so.
Pretty interesting. I think it's kind of funny. He's like, yeah, there's a nice story there. At least I hope so. I can't help but think, he's got a pretty good idea of where this story is going to go at this point in the game. There have at least been outlines put forth, I'm sure. So
yeah, early drafts, things like that.
Yeah. So
I mean, they kind of need that to even get him to agree to the job. You know?
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, we want you to come back and play Obi-Wan. Here's the thing. We're going to make him look like a doofus. All right. Yeah. No, thank you. So, yeah. And then, so they go on with the conversation. He mentioned in the at the beginning of the Alec Guinness clip there that aside from the fight scenes, and all that, they go on to talk about lightsabers. And this, I had to clip this because, man, there's going to be plenty of us that this takes us back, and this would be a wish of ours from as a kid.
And there's a guy whose job it is to just make lightsabers. There was a guy on set, and he had a cart that was a lightsaber making cart on wheels, so it could be pushed to stage 3 and then over to stage 5. And because after every take, the poles would invariably get a bit bent, and occasionally you get a really good bend, and then you really got a good shot in. But his job was to take your lightsaber after every take, and he'd be over in the corner putting in a new blade on your lightsaber, and he'd bring it back over and he'd be like, "Thank you, my man, good man." Yes.
So, back in the day when I had the flashlight connected to the white plastic tube for a lightsaber, I really could have used a lightsaber guy.
Yeah, like you're beating the crap out of your brother or cousin or
right.
friend or whatever, and it's like, it broke. Hey, my good man, I need a new stick to continue beating the crap out of him.
That's right.
Like,
That's exactly right. My God, those plastic tubes. once they fold it over on themselves enough times, man, you can swing it through the air and it's flopping all around. I mean,
yeah, but if you time that just right, if you time that bend, if you stopped it and got a good follow through, it would just whip.
Exactly. It becomes more of a lightsaber whip. Yes.
Yes. Or like Rey's lightsaber in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought that was, that cracked me up because, he's talking about all the bends in the metal poles that are on the lightsabers they're using on set. Yeah.
So you think when he's talking like, that's when you got a good shot in. You think he's talking about the one that connected with Ray Park's eye?
I don't know. I think.
Have you seen those behind the scenes? And you see Ray Park in the one scene, he's got this big old shiner.
I probably have. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I probably have.
Yeah, that was Ewan that gave him that shiner.
Nice.
Just saying.
So he was talking mainly about when you're getting into it, and you've got these metal poles, kind of screwed into your lightsaber hilt, and you're when you're filming, you are going at this like full force, and it's a metal pole against a metal pole kind of thing, and it's like, they'll actually take bends and stuff while filming, and it's like, wow, yeah, it's kind of cool to hear that they actually go at it that hard,
Yeah, and that's a badge of honor if you can get a shot to the face in on a martial artist like Ray Park.
Right.
I mean, that's
there's not too many people that can claim that.
Granted, Ray Park was in acting mode and not I'm gonna kick your ass mode.
This is true. 'Cause if he was in that mode, yeah. Sorry, Ewan.
We'd be talking about Ewan McGregor's replacement right now.
Yeah, right. But yeah, very cool. Definitely wish I had a lightsaber guy when I was a kid. Totally.
Oh yeah. And just to talk to him like that.
Yeah.
It was stick, my good man.
Yeah. Thank you, my good man.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we should talk about Bob Iger's comments this week.
Yeah, we could do that. So let's see. He talked with the BBC in the UK and had some comments about he was talking about Marvel. He was talking about things like when Disney Plus is going to be coming to the UK, things like that. But what caught my eye was what he had to say about Star Wars. So, to quote, he says, "I have said publicly that I think we made and released too many Star Wars films over a short period of time. I have not said that they were disappointing in any way. I have not said that I'm disappointed in their performance. I just think that there's something so special about a Star Wars film, and less is more."
Less is more. Well, I have to say that that is the first time I've ever heard a CEO say that.
Right. I was going to say, that's not basic math, Bob.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be as successful as the CEO,
right,
if you thought less is more.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know we didn't make a lot of money this quarter, but hey, less is more, right?
Right, yeah. I don't think it works that way.
No, it doesn't work that way, Bob. No, I wholeheartedly think that he's trying too hard to convey a love of Star Wars.
Yes.
Not saying that he doesn't actually love Star Wars. He very well could.
Right.
But I think you're trying a little too hard, Bob.
I think so too. I think the whole notion of there's too much Star Wars too fast is wrong. Okay. I think, we would consume as much Star Wars as you could put out so long as this Star Wars is up to Star Wars, quality standards. And I think I hate to sound this way, okay, but to some degree, I think as a guy running a company as huge as Disney, there's a part of him that thought, hey, if we throw the Star Wars label on it, it's gonna sell.
Yes.
And it's just not that way with Star Wars fans. I think they've found that out. And I think this break that we're going to be having in the Star Wars films, I think what this is going to, or at least what I think they're hoping this is going to allow them to do, is it's like, okay, let's make sure that we're making up a batch of the correct secret sauce for Star Wars. I mean,
but at the same time, I mean, are they really throttling back here? I mean,
well,
okay, they're going to put out one less feature in a time period than they would have.
Well, on the schedule that they were going, it was a movie a year, right?
Okay.
And now we're going to have a 3-year break.
A 3-year break and then a movie every 2 years.
Right.
So, but he says, too much Star Wars at once.
Right.
Now, we just had announced the Mandalorian, or, we've since known about the Mandalorian.
Right.
We've got the Clone Wars coming.
Right.
We've got Cassian.
Yes.
We've got Obi-Wan.
Yes.
And we've got 6 films that are on the slate.
6?
Well, yeah, you had the 3 films that were the Benioff and Weiss films.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming those will be handed off to another director.
Yeah. Obviously now, yeah.
And then the 3 films that were slated for Rian Johnson.
Right, which, that's gotten kind of quiet recently, so
right,
exactly
but
know what's going on there.
Those were all on the docket post we're going to slow down.
Right.
So that's not a drastic slowdown in my opinion.
No. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. With as excited as everyone is for the Mandalorian, it looks like it's going to be quote unquote good Star Wars, right? Good storytelling, looks phenomenal. All of this set in the Star Wars universe, and it's going to be coming at us every week.
Yeah. So here's a leap I'm going to take. Okay, I think they're not slowing down at all. Okay, they are redirecting resources.
I can see that.
Okay, the Mandalorian. This is the result of the rumored Boba Fett film, in my opinion. They decided to go with an episodic series because they have this new platform coming to them.
Right.
Coming available to them. Okay. Obi-Wan, becoming a series, was slated to be a movie. They have this new platform.
Yes.
Let's utilize it.
Yes.
And I would not be the least bit surprised to find out that Cassian was originally slated to be a film.
Very possible.
And became a series because, hey, look, we started this Mandalorian thing. It's turning out great. Let's go this direction.
the only thing that I've heard that would contradict what you're saying is that Jon Favreau pitched the Mandalorian series to Lucasfilm.
Oh, I have no doubt that that's the way it went down, and that's the way this evolved. So I believe that they probably had this Boba Fett film in mind.
Right.
And then they get this pitch, mull it over for a little while, and go, hey, you know what?
Yeah, let's not do this, and let's do
Let's
this.
not do this. Let's do this. This seems like a better idea. I think Jon Favreau just had a better idea.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever had their sights on doing episodic TV series type stuff until one, Jon Favreau pitched this, and two, Solo did what it did.
I will say, I think they probably were thinking this was going to come sometime in the future.
Yes.
Maybe not right now. Maybe not with the launch of Disney Plus. I think once Favreau pitched this, they saw this as the opportunity to, okay, let's make this our flagship show then. To
right.
launch
And
it.
I think all that happened before Solo.
Yes.
But then Solo happened and they said, okay, well let's pump the brakes a little here. You know, let's take this Obi-Wan thing and do what we're doing with the Mandalorian. It'll be shorter. You know, 6 episodes, right?
Yes, 6 or 8.
I think that's the rumor. It's about 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this instead of that, because we're working on this stuff and this looks great. So they're being smart here, and they're utilizing a medium that was not available in the past.
Right.
You know, and not available in a very affordable way.
Right.
And they're redirecting resources in a wise way, I think. They're making the right decisions.
I think ultimately though, the lack of, how do you put it, man? The lack of extreme success, right, that Solo had, I think scared the pants off of everyone on the Disney board. How's that?
Oh yeah, they're gun shy for sure.
I mean, so after that, there was a lot of apprehension about moving forward with another standalone. So I think that's where, okay, let's not do any more of that. Let's finish out the Skywalker saga, and then let's start at square one.
Yeah, so that's where Obi-Wan comes in.
Right.
Because and I truly do believe that the Mandalorian was put together as just a good idea, even though I think it spawned from originally thinking of doing a Boba Fett film. Right.
Well, there was talk of a Boba Fett film.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think that's what spawned the idea to take Jon Favreau's idea and do the Mandalorian.
Right.
Was, okay, let's do this Boba Fett film. They start looking at it. Okay, well, this, and this. And then Jon Favreau comes along and says, hey, I got this idea for this show. And they're like, oh, wait. That's way better than what we were working on.
Yeah.
So I think Jon Favreau pitching the Mandalorian, I believe is the crux of the whole series idea with Star Wars.
Right.
You know, episodic TV series idea.
Right.
But I think Solo pushed some of these other projects in that direction because it, one, will be lower cost in the long run.
Right.
And two, as long as the Mandalorian is successful, will probably be more profitable in the end.
Well,
looking at how Solo did,
I think that's exactly what they're looking at, right? Because when you start looking at just numbers, The Mandalorian season 1, it's going to be about half price of what Solo cost,
right,
to make and market. So,
what, 10 hours of content as
exactly,
opposed to 2?
Exactly. That's exactly it right there. And with it being strung out across a whole season, you know, there's a lot of mitigating factors involved of you know, you are getting so much more content, and you are helping to launch a whole new streaming service. And, you know, it's a lot of things going into this that make it make sense.
And not only that, but they are killing the binge watching experience.
Yes. Which
I'm honestly all for.
Yes.
I gotta say, I really am, because
I think I am.
What's up?
I said I think I am, but I'm not sure yet. So that's where
Well,
I'm
I
at.
look at it from this perspective. One, you're going to release an episode. It's going to be available at my fingertips for an entire week.
Right.
Okay. So I'm probably going to watch it more than once.
Right.
I'm going to absorb this episode more than I would a TV show, because it's just going to be available to me.
Right.
Granted, with DVR technology and all that, it has been for a while.
True.
But binge watching has kind of pulled me away from that a little bit, just because it's all available at the same time. So that does have a certain allure. I can just keep going.
Yes. I got you.
But at the same time, I do kind of miss kind of just soaking myself into a single episode before the next one comes out.
Right.
So I'm not opposed to this. I'm actually encouraged by this. I think it's a good move. And 2, I mean, I did pay for 3 years of Disney Plus, so I need a reason to watch it every week.
Right.
But I think eliminating the binge watching thing is a good thing. One, it's just sometimes it's just not healthy, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Like, I just started watching a new show, and I'll tell you what, man, I consumed the entire first season of this show in one night.
Right.
I had the day off of work because I had some other stuff to do, and Crystal Ann came out in the morning, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, she comes out. She goes, "Are you serious?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "It's 5 a.m." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." Well, it's like, oh, that's good. I just look at this. This is the end of season 1, so
wow.
I guess I'll go to bed.
Yeah, I can see how that happens, right? I mean,
yeah,
we've been able to do this with Netflix and things of that nature, and you know, I do like the idea of rewatching episodes as they come out over time, because as Star Wars fans, we have all seen these films so many times, right? We're going to be getting to the point of saturation with Star Wars pretty soon where, you know, you're not going to be able to consume these over and over to the point that we used to, right? There's just going to be so much Star Wars available, you can't do it. So there's not enough hours in the day, right? But,
right.
You know, being able to do that before the next episode comes out, it is appealing in a certain way. So, you know, and then if you start on episode 1 and burn right through a whole season, I can see how that could lead you to missing out on some of the finer points of what's been done to make this show. So it does make sense as far as those factors go, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that I'll be able to, like I said, soak it all in before the next week.
Right.
All right. Well, we might as well talk about Resistance before we get out of here.
Okay.
So this week we had The Engineer.
Yes.
Well, what you think this week?
I actually had a thought at the beginning of this episode that kind of made sense to me. You know, we talked about how this, where the show's at in the timeline and what it was doing. I think we agreed that at this point in the timeline, we are past the events of The Last Jedi.
Yes.
And thus far, the Resistance crew has had zero bearing on the events of The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi.
Right.
So, I like that they're having these issues that they're having to fix, right? Because it gives them a reason as to why, right? If there weren't so many problems that they were having to deal with, you'd have to be asking yourself, why aren't they helping? Right? I mean, beyond. So I guess I kind of like that from how it ties into the other stories in universe.
Right.
As far as this character we meet, was it Nina?
Yep. I think so.
I don't know. That part of it was just a little off for me, and
well, I mean, so to your point of being past the events of The Last Jedi.
Yep.
I think this character confirmed it for us.
What's that?
She flat out says to them, the Resistance is gone.
Oh, right. Yes.
So I think that is a confirmation of where we are in the timeline.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think the Resistance is gone at this point.
Right.
And I think this show is either leading us to this station and crew being part of the revival of a Resistance, or this station and crew finding a demise.
I think what we're going to get here is what we got with the Ghost in Rogue One and what we've already seen from the Ghost in The Rise of Skywalker. I think the Colossus will be in this big, hodgepodge of ships getting ready to face off with whoever they're going to face off with. I'm assuming the Star Destroyers.
Yeah,
so,
I can see that.
I think the Colossus will be in that group. I think that's what we're working towards, and because by the time that would happen on the show, The Rise of Skywalker will have already been released, and there we have it.
Yep.
So that's what I think they're working towards. I think it'll be a nice way to tie it up and tie it together. Again, beyond that mile high big picture view, right?
Yep.
Not a lot of substance in the story,
No, I think the thing that was really lacking here, and really, I think would have tied this together a little bit, I would have liked to have seen how Tam would have reacted to them finding the Colossus again.
Oh yeah, okay.
With the development we've gotten out of her in the past couple weeks, I would have liked to have seen her reaction.
Right.
I think that would have that would have made this episode a ton better. I will say this episode as a whole, the stakes were higher than they've been for a long time in this show, like really this entire season.
Yeah.
They actually got drawn back into conflict, albeit short-lived, but you actually felt like there were some stakes.
Yeah, that's one thing that bothered me about this episode, I gotta say. You find out where the Colossus is at, you show up, and then you launch one squad of TIE fighters to attack.
Yeah, that was pretty sad.
That was pretty sad. I mean, you got some pretty big guns on that Star Destroyer.
None of them fired.
Use them, right? That I didn't get, but okay.
Kid show.
Yeah, exactly. Kid show. Yeah.
So, yeah. All in all, an enjoyable watch, but yeah, we got let on a little bit with the beginning of this season and the end of last season.
Right.
That stakes were going to be higher. And like I said, I think all of this could have been grounded with just showing Tam and her reaction.
Right.
And building on her character a little bit more. I think all of this could have been much better.
Agreed. I do think that they're giving us glimpses into how this is all going to eventually fit together, though, which is kind of nice. So,
yeah, I would agree with that assessment. All right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.